Ready? Good evening. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. I now call this Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting to order. Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding.
Present.
Trustee Harkemeyer. Here. Trustee McAbey.
Here. We have Pastor Cecil Day. So would you like to lead us in invocation? And lead us in the pledge as well.
God, we thank you for your blessings. Thank you for our community. Thank you for our leadership. We ask, Father, that you would move in the service tonight. Help us to find your wisdom in the decisions that are being made. We ask that you would just help us through each decision. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Day. Okay, the first item on the agenda is presentations. May we have the first resolution, please?
Resolution 23107, authorizing the appointment of full-time firefighter paramedic Christopher Ferguson to the Fairfield Township Fire Department at an hourly rate of $21.24 on a 24/48 shift with a 90-day probationary period.
Motion to adopt?
Second. Any questions? Ms. Schultz, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee McAbey.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes. That motion passes. Chief, you want to do the oath first, or are you commenting first?
Whatever you would like, sir.
We'll do the oath first. That's fine.
I, Christopher Ferguson.
I said repeat after me.
I think so. Read it. Didn't you?
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. I, Christopher Ferguson,
I, Christopher Ferguson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties,
that I will faithfully execute the duties,
the oath of Fairfield Township firefighter paramedic,
the oath of Fairfield Township firefighter paramedic
state of Ohio,
in the state of Ohio,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
protect, preserve, and defend
protect, preserve, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the state of Ohio,
and the state of Ohio,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of this township,
of this township,
and I furthermore solemnly swear to abide by and enforce the mission, vision, and values
and values
of the fire department.
of the fire department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Take the badge out of the plastic while you're standing there. You can put your helmet on a chair. So most of you may remember that Chris worked for us for a while and was the day turn fire inspector and a paramedic, and left for opportunities in Tennessee, and coincidentally had an opportunity to come back because we had somebody leave. So we're glad to welcome Chris back, and we're looking to put him to work on Friday. So he better step up his game plan on Thursday and pass his credentials. So as part of our normal hiring practice, we do a thing called pinning of the badge. And it's usually somebody selected who means something very much important to the person who's getting pinned. So I think there's a young man sitting in the audience that's going to do that, right? Step up there. Get down on one knee, Chris. Make it easy. It's like proposing, just to the fire station. And have him turn around with you and stand there. You guys can get a picture. Good. Chris, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
So I have my almost 9-year-old twins, Caleb and Nora, my wife Erica, sister-in-law Emily, brother Dave, his girlfriend, and my nephew Alex.
That's all I have. You get to release everybody.
Do you want to do pictures?
Sure. If the trustees and Mr. Ferguson will go to the flag, and then we can take some pictures with the family.
All right, ready? Do you want to go up? Join everybody? So, you're welcome to stay, but you can go to the reception next door. You can. Good job. Welcome back. Okay, the next item of business is old business. First item is the community survey. I don't know if the trustees would like to contribute more to our previous discussion, where we want to go moving forward with this. I'm open to suggestions.
Do we have some type of rough draft?
I submitted some questions, but did you submit some questions to?
I didn't submit anything additional to what I had said the last meeting.
Okay. So is it in the, was it in the minutes? Was it for what Trustee McAbee had suggested? It's in the recording though, right?
Yes.
Could we read it? Could you have someone, Ms. Von Hart, read the recording and jot down the notes that were done at the last meeting?
Sure.
And then I think Ms. Von Hart, Trustee Markmeyer had some comments as well, I believe.
Yeah, the main thing that and I don't know that this is the right time to do that survey. It wouldn't give me any heartburn if we push that down the road for a while. If we did go ahead and move forward with it, the question that I would be interested in asking would just be an open-ended question. What are some things that you would like to see, something broad? What are some things you would like to see in Fairfield Township? something around that, where we could get some open-ended comments on that.
That's sort of what we talked about,
Yeah.
other than steakhouse.
And we
Including
know,
the steakhouse, not in other than.
yeah, we know, but I would just keep it kind of open-ended if we were to do it. And,
Okay, so the will of the board is for our administrator to gather some generic questions, put them down on paper, and then
I
come back,
wouldn't
and if we
even,
make a decision to run with it.
and I wouldn't even do, I would just do one question, which is basically what are something to the effect of, and we could wordsmith a little bit more, but what are some improvement ideas that you see for Fairfield Township? And I would just leave it general and open-ended.
And if we do this, what kind of platform would you like to see that on?
That would be another rub too, because is it a Survey Monkey thing? Is it an electronic thing? Is it a newsletter thing? I think parts of our population might not even be on Facebook, and we would be missing some of those people. So I just think it's more of a comprehensive project than we might be wanting to do right now.
Trustee McAfee, your thoughts on timing or?
I'm ready. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we brought this idea up several months ago about surveying the public about what they see as our future, because we had some focus groups done with staff, right? So I think we're asking the public for some input. I don't know if you want to have some open houses for them just to come in. Like we can put the word out there, we're gonna have some open houses for you to come in and give us some input on what you'd like to see. You might only get a handful of people come in and do that. If you want to maybe wait until our next newsletter goes out and say, here's an opportunity in the newsletter, like here's an opportunity to give feedback, go to our website, answer a couple questions, and then we can go from there.
I think I'd be more comfortable with some listening sessions or open houses because the data integrity, if we were to just put that out there, how do we ensure that it's actually residents that would be completing that?
Well, that's that
How do
questions
we-
we could ask.
I don't know that, I wouldn't be assured of the data integrity for that. Whereas I think if we had an on-site session or sessions, we would be able to collect the data as to where do you live in the township, where are you in the township, those kinds of things.
So would we ask them for their driver's license to prove that they're residents?
No, I'm not saying anything of the sort, but I
Okay.
am saying that we would have a sign-in sheet.
Okay. Which we could
I'm
do
not
online as
interested-
well, like fill out
Right.
your name and address and.
Again, the data integrity, I don't know that would necessarily be
Okay.
solid.
The only thing I worry about with having an open house and limiting it to only the open house is then we have such a small sampling size. We might get, if we have 3 open houses, we might get a total of 12 people show up.
Sure.
And then we're going to base what we're going to do next off of 12 people.
I have no intention of basing total decisions off of what this would be. This isn't going to be necessarily a straight democracy kind of thing where we say, hey, do we want to put in a splash pad? And I don't really see that. I think it's they're data components for us to take into consideration.
And what would the purpose, once we get the data, what would we do with it?
Good question. What do you think?
I mean, I think we should at least consider what they.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
Clearly.
we're wasting their time than coming in. So we could have discussions on the topics that they bring up. Like if they bring up 15 suggestions, we could have, as part of one of our trustee meetings, a discussion about the ideas that were brought up. And then we can look into feasibility of undertaking them. If any of those ideas spark the interest of one of the trustees, then maybe we could ask that trustee to research what's the capabilities of us doing that? What are the legal responsibilities if we were to do something to act on that suggestion? And if it's even worth our efforts to do it. So I think we should, however we gather the data, we should do something with it, or we're wasting our citizens' time.
Absolutely, and the staff's time and everything else too. But I think in addition to, say, survey, open houses, there's also feedback that our staff hears. So I absolutely think that our admin team, that our different department heads hear quite a lot from the community about what their expectations are. And so I think those are other data points too. So I'm not saying, the survey is one data point, an open house would be one data point, also feedback from staff, those are data points too. And also data points that we have in our own conversations with people in the community as well. So I don't want us to look upon this survey as the end all be all of what Fairfield Township thinks. I think it's one data point.
Trustee McAbey, what's your thoughts on?
We have a couple opportunities coming up where we can go to them. We got the community event coming up in September, right?
Right.
So we could set up a table, have some questions, have some blank piece of paper and ask them that question.
That's a,
What's the township
great idea.
missing? What would you be interested in seeing? What would you be interested in paying for? However we want to strike up the conversation.
Okay.
And then there's probably something else coming the next month. Yeah, there you go. So we have at least two, well-attended events where they don't have to come just to us for, just for that.
Okay.
So again, we could set up a table. I'd be more than helpful for us to be there, engage them, find out what they're thinking.
I think it's
Maybe they said they like it just the way it is, don't touch a thing. And then sort of move on from what we hear.
So the Touch a Truck event, Chief, is when? 19th of August? Okay.
So it comes before
The September 9th, we're having the,
So 10 days.
so how about if we ask the administrator, between the three of us, we should be manning those stations at these two events, have a tent set up. And then,
At least one of us ought to be there,
right,
for whatever the period of time is. And
or at least part of
again,
the time.
have a number of clipboards and something they can write with and just ask them that
Just have a
question.
blank form.
Or either on the top, put that generic question
Okay.
that we talked about.
Okay.
What would you like to see? What is it you don't see or you want to see in the township?
What are improvement ideas? What are some things we can do?
And let them go with it.
And I think it would be interesting too, because we probably will get Fairfield Township residents and non-residents that would be filling this out. Let's just put a checkbox on there that says, are you a resident? Yes or no? Because if it's that kind of format, I'm interested in what do other people, other communities think, or people from outside of Fairfield Township think.
Are we asking for just adults to fill it out? Are we asking for students?
I think kids
also?
and students can do it. I think they'd probably have interest in things, and there are residents too. I have no problem with young people filling it out.
Would you like them to include some sort of contact information on the form in case we have questions on their suggestion? We could maybe have a line on there, fill this in, if optional. If you'd like us to follow up with you, or if we have questions, could we contact you and have them put either their email or cell phone number?
Fair enough.
And then let's have that ready at I think our September meeting is, I think, after the 9th. Let's have it for our October meeting. We can get that information back to us for our October meeting. If you can get it to us in September so that we can review it and then discuss it in our October meeting. Because it's also after the deadline, correct, of the submissions for the applications as well, right? Okay. Okay, great. I think that's a great idea. I appreciate your input. And I think we've given our administrator some clear direction on what we'd like to have. And then let's look at our calendars and get back to the administrator as to when we could cover the table to be there to help, have questions answered and things like that. All right, great. Thank you. Anything else on that topic or? Oh, okay. All right, next item, Ms. Mondar.
Thank you. So this is an update that came from Fred Valerius. in regards to the Veterans Memorial Committee. And I did provide copies, and then I forwarded not only this update, but some, the information related to the John Carboyle golf outing. The past 2 years, I believe they've raised about $15,000, and they are holding that again on September 7th. Total donations to date, we've had 193 donors, and the total donation approximately 215,000. There is a total balance of almost 8,000, and right now I know that part of that 8,000 and the entry monuments, there is a grant through the Michael J. Cooligan Fund at the Hamilton County Foundation, Community Foundation, sorry, and they should know by the end of August. They think they're going to be allotted approximately 100,000. So we'll know more about that in late August. And then they are hoping to have benches installed as early as late August, but that's all been paid for, and they're working on engravement now. That sums up most of it. They've met with us a couple times, and they're trying to redefine their role and looking for some guidance on a date for the next event. Is that Veterans? That'll be the Veterans Day, and I think is that one Fred wanted to have the handoff was. So I think they were talking. He gave me some days. I'll send that to the board to see if that's okay with you.
He had a preference on
Was it?
2 dates, and he had
Yeah.
a preference for one of them.
He did, yes.
If I remember correctly, the email from the school said the 9th.
I was going to say the 9th. Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I have in here.
I think that's what the school said that was best for the students, if we want the students to participate in line the east and north.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to be wrong. So more to come on that. I mean, is there a problem if the 9th were the date? Is that, okay. So more to come as far as the time. And it sounds like some of the committee members want to run a parade. Some are going to take more of a back seat. They want to see some things from the township. But as I explained to them, I can't necessarily produce to that level based on my spending authority and the vision of the board. And so I don't know what the will of the board is moving forward for programs. Do we want 2 things a year? Do we want the parade? And that's not something I'm looking for an answer now, but I did explain to the committee, it's not as easy as just, I'm going to replicate what you did. And they did understand once we explained, but Chuck and I sat with them, Chuck Moore sat with them, and went over some things. So we're transitioning and more to come. They've been wonderful and they've done a fantastic job.
Could that survey, could we ask the residents if they participated in either one of the Veterans Day or Memorial Day parades or events? And if they did, would they like to see that continue? Could put that on the survey and find out if the residents want it. I can't see why they would say no. Unless they got stuck in traffic. They're like, no. Don't continue that. I'm trying to shop. So, yeah, I personally would like to see the Veterans Day, some sort of Veterans Day event and some sort of Memorial Day event be held at our Veterans Memorial. Whether that involves a parade or not, I'm indifferent about a parade. I like it, but at the same time, are we putting a strain on our police force? We put a strain on the community to blocking the streets. We're putting a strain on the schools for having kids stay out there. That's all items I think we can discuss at a later date. We do have time. But I think it's something to think about where we want this going forward.
And maybe we do one a year with the parade and 2 events.
One parade and
Yeah,
two
versus having 2. But I think there are some pluses to having the students involved. The way
Right.
they have them.
But I think if we were to have a parade, it might be the best idea maybe to have a Veterans Day parade, because a lot of people have Memorial Day parades. And we're in direct competition with getting people there. I know the marching band does the Memorial Day Parade in Fairfield, and so maybe this evolves later in the Veterans Day Parade to include the marching band and things like that into the concept. But if we were just to do one, I would say Veterans Day would be my preference. But
I really like the involvement of the students. I think it's just a very important thing to go past the schools and to have that sort of education for them. And I think that was one of the reasons why we put the memorial in front of the park, was so that maybe the kids would see that and ask a question and try and understand. So if I could only choose one thing, I would keep the parade going past the schools, because I think it's a valuable opportunity for the young people.
I agree. Okay, so more to come on the Veterans Committee.
That's correct.
And we'll continue to have discussions about what the will of the board is as far as parades and memorials, what have you.
Sounds good.
I think it's also important that maybe we try to recruit new members of our Veterans Committee, maybe some younger generation veterans to maybe come in and step up and be replacements for some of the veterans that are dropping off this committee. And then maybe they could help keep the memorial going, making sure the plaques are being done and things like that. It would take some pressure off of staff to have to always keep up with that information. That's just an idea.
The committee recommended that too, so that was one thing definitely. So you're thinking along the same lines, and we'll do our best.
I mean, I can think of some friends of mine that are veterans that are in their 40s and 50s as opposed to their 60s and 70s, and maybe it'll give us 8-10 years on the committee to help keep it going. I think they're energetic. They're leaders in the community. They've actually been involved with some of the leadership and volunteerism associated with the township as well. So I'd be happy to ask a couple of them if there's interest from the board.
Go for it.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, and I think we don't have to stay with just veterans. I think we need to have community members that could contribute in the organization of the events and things like that.
Okay.
To keep it going and to build off of it.
Right.
Not the actual building of the memorial itself, but now that.
The promotion is part of it.
Using it and.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. We'll work on that and we'll report back next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and the next item is items for board discussion, and it's the agreement involving Nair. Ms. Monahan?
Thank you. So we do have tonight, there is a resolution involving allowing the administrator to sign the cooperative agreement that is involving the Nair project. And there have been a lot of moving parts and pieces to this project, and with this cooperative agreement, basically it's involving the TIF and allowing us to execute the TIF. And what's different in this one is that the Port Authority is involved, as well as Nair and the township. So as everyone's well aware, a lot of the TIF money will be used for acquisition and construction of the public project, which is the road project. And the developer in this agreement, I'm just giving some high-level details. The developer has an obligation to pay the statutory minimum payment and that's as a covenant running with the land. So if the TIF underperforms, there is a safeguard there through the developer. Nair also has a statement. Part of the agreement is that they will continue to develop the project. They have no intention of bowing out. As a matter of fact, they're continuing full steam ahead with finding tenants and continuing on the next buildings. Part and parcel in all of this is the school compensation agreement, which that agrees to make the schools whole. And that goes back to a long history of our first negotiation with the schools. But we have that agreement in place. And part of the obligation is that execution and delivery of the purchase agreement for all bonds will come before the board. I did forward a bond schedule. Looks like they're hoping to close on August 16th. You know, sometimes those things are subject to change. Outside of that, Larry, is there anything legally you wanted to add that I might have missed, or?
No, I've reviewed the documents and I think they're legal as to form. The Port Authority's going to issue the bonds. The township's going to allow the service payments from the TIF to support the bonds. And it just sets forth how the money will be distributed and what it'll be used for. I think you
Right.
explained it all correctly.
Okay, and with the payment schedule, it looks like it'll run till 2043. What do we say, Shelley, it kicks off the first of 2025?
The principal does, and then the
Yeah,
interest starts 12/1/23.
So, which is good because it takes a while for the TIFs to ramp up and start to generate sufficient funding, so. But again, if you need me to print up, resend the schedule, have any questions about any of that, don't hesitate. Like I said, there are a lot of different parts and pieces flying. We're about to get the estoppel notice filed. We're giving that to the city Fairfield tomorrow. So there's just a lot of pieces, but we've had weekly meetings and it's gone really well. Everyone's been great to work with.
Any discussion from the board?
I never did see the schedule. Is that part of this?
I emailed it, but I have a copy right here you can have.
Should that be part of the,
It's not part of the cooperative agreement.
not?
But it is part of the TIF agreement. When did we do that? I think there's something in the document that talked about, we did the TIF back in
2018.
yeah, so this has been project that's been ongoing for a couple of years now.
There's one TIF building has been activated, so these TIFs are going to go into the 2050s. So it'll be probably about 10 years after the bonds.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've talked to the county, and Shelley's talked to the county, and all the different legal departments and council, and the county is aware that these are rolling TIFs, and Shelley will be notified when these things will kickstart. So she'll be in communication with Julie Lepesky at the county.
And Julie has confirmed that. She understands
Yes.
all that and
Yes.
what the schedule is going to be, and what at least it's expected to be in terms of when the TIFs are going to be activated.
Any other discussion?
So it looks like we're selling $1.5 million worth of bonds?
I think the bonds, that's what the agreement says, but I think they were using that number as a placeholder to some degree. The bond offering, I think it's going to be $1,040,000. At least that's the document I saw today. I'm not sure what the final number is going to be, but the document I saw today said $1,040,000.
But in the contract, it says a maximum of 1.5 million.
Right.
Correct.
So why would it be 450,000 more?
I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, the document said $1,040,000 today.
So that's what this maturity table, number one, shows $1,040,000. Bond component.
And if I'm correct, that rolls in all the different fees,
Right.
yeah, so everything to get it initiated.
So we're not using the building that's already generating money in the TIF. We're not using that to fund any of this project, correct?
I did not think we were. I did not think
Frankly,
we
not sure
were,
of that.
but I'll verify that. My understanding was it would kick off with this next, but let me find out for sure.
And you can just send that out in an email to the three trustees.
Can do that.
Yeah, I spoke with Ken about that today, and I thought, he told me that there was going to be enough revenue from the get-go to support the bond payments. And so I guess I just assumed from that they were using the TIF that's currently in place, but I'm not positive enough of that to make a representation here at the meeting.
I think that's part of why at first it's just interest, but I'll double check that. So, because I didn't talk to Ken today, so I'll verify all that. Thought that's why the principal, but again, let me verify and I will let you know.
Any other discussion?
Well, okay. I know we're going to be asked to vote on this tonight. That concerns me greatly that we haven't had the chance to review the document, have that discussion, have the right answers. I mean, there's interest being paid. I know we're capitalizing, we're borrowing the interest. Right? So the bonds themselves, and there's some big numbers on here. Here's that $1,040,000, and then the debt service total is $1.7 million. Showing us with $736,000 of interest.
I know at the end, won't the township gain, they'll net about $3 million out of the tip, so. Of course, that'll take some years, but still, there's a net positive on that.
The references on here, the collection on building 2. So again, that makes me think that we're not touching the money off of building number 1. And 2 is, that's their new building, right?
2 is the newest, and they just retained a tenant.
I'm sorry?
They just retained a tenant. I thought you said they were. Oh, the third one is, okay, the third one is, they're negotiating the tenant. Okay.
Renovation prints in place that they're going to renovate for their new tenant.
So are they about to start building the fourth?
I was told as soon as they found a tenant for the last building that
Okay.
built, they would move forward with it.
I thought they had 2 tenants moving in, but.
So they have a,
They have not confirmed that third building.
Okay.
well, that's pretty much complete, right? The third building.
Almost. They're having some problems with their fire pump, so they still haven't finished. They're on their third fire pump.
When would this be executed? When do you need to sign the agreement, Ms. Vonderhaar?
Well, the closing on the bonds is going to be
August 16th.
Okay. So, and Larry, you have read through this and you're satisfied with the
Right,
document?
I didn't negotiate the deal. Ken negotiated the deal with Julie.
Okay.
But from a legal perspective, as to form, I approve this document, yes.
There's been 4 attorneys involved and it's been meticulous.
So, Trustee McAfee, would you prefer to table this and have a special meeting to come in after you've had an opportunity to get your questions answered? Come in and vote on it then, before the 15th? Would you be available to do that, just for a 5-minute meeting to vote yea or nay on it?
You gave a date, 15th.
The 15th has to be, because the 16th she's signing it.
The 16th is when they're
They're
selling.
closing, they're
So
closing on
Since
the
it's
bond.
closing, they probably want to do it on the 14th.
Yeah.
Once you vote.
So that's a Monday, the 14th.
Why are we had all kind of agreements when we went through this before. Why are we having this agreement now? What's different with this than what we've done
This is an agreement,
18 months, 2 years ago, whenever that was?
well, we did the TIF resolution, which set forth, the public purpose of the TIF and how the TIF was going to be activated, that it was going to be a rolling TIF, et cetera. Then we did an agreement, school compensation agreement. Then we did an agreement with the developer. Now, this is a cooperative agreement, adding the Port Authority and making it clear that the Port Authority is issuing the bonds. The township is pledging the service payments from the TIF to support the bond payments, that the funds are going to be used for the public infrastructure, to support this private development and things of that nature. It talks about when the money comes in, it goes first to pay administrative fees, then it goes to the school, and things of that nature. So, I'm familiar with the document. I've read the document over carefully. I'm just not sure whether or not they're using that first parcel to support the bond payments. I know they're using service payments from the TIF to support the bond payments.
Yeah, and to me, that's a big question, whether they are or not. Again, on this maturity table, it shows collection on building 2. Which again makes me think they're leaving 1 alone.
I sent a text to Ken because I thought it began with 2, and then with each activation, with each building being activated, I thought that kicked in. So, but I sent a text just to verify. Hopefully we'll hear back.
And that's what I was hoping that it was doing, was taking the new buildings, 2, 3, 4, 5, and using that money going forward. But it's also tied with the tax on the employment too, right?
Correct. I think with Fairfield, it's 1.5%.
So let's,
So we can move along, maybe
Yeah.
when we get to it,
maybe we'll have an answer by then.
yeah, maybe we'll have a little more information.
Okay.
If it's just bringing the Port Authority in to actually handle the bonds and the payments and the distribution, overseeing all that, then that's makes me more comfortable. But
That's the general nature of this agreement, yes.
But you want to make sure that the correct buildings are being,
I think we all do, don't we?
well, I'm asking for
Yes.
clarification.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving forward then. And then when we get to that resolution, hopefully we'll have an answer by then.
And we're at the most we're on the hook for is the $800,000
Correct.
and the interest on that.
Right.
So it's like over the 25 years, it's close to $2 million.
I haven't touched those.
I think 1.7, I think.
Yeah.
Bonds list.
1.785 or whatever.
Okay. So we'll move on to communication, but I don't think anybody signed up. Pastor Day, did you want to comment on anything tonight? You already made some great comments. Okay. So we'll move on to committee reports. The TID, Trustee McAfee.
The TID meets next week. Normally we meet after we meet or not meet. Just want to remind everybody about the 28th meeting. That's the right date, I think. It's a Monday night. It's an open town hall meeting for the Fairfield Township, Hamilton, the city of Hamilton, and anybody else that has been watching the North Hamilton crossing. So I would encourage everyone to come. I think it's 5:30 to 7:30, something like that. We need to put that on Facebook and on the website. Also wanted to mention, maybe we do another postcard.
We could also have that information at our Touch a Truck.
We certainly could, both, well, that's
September 9th.
That's before.
Yeah.
That's right. The other thing I was going to mention was about the triage building that
Mr. Dr. Rasmus.
Rasmus
Yeah.
was talking to us about. So maybe we could do a postcard for both of those, because he's picked a date in September. He forwarded that to you, Julie?
He did.
It's, I think it's Wednesday the 6th, or is it the 7th? It's one of those dates.
Okay.
So maybe we could put both those dates on a postcard and send it to at least the west side of the bypass, or the whole community would be fine. Give them that information so that they can go and ask questions. The North Hamilton Crossing meeting is going to be a presentation followed up by questions, is what it sounds. I did attend the last one, and
Yeah, it was on the 4th or, what night was that? I was in Columbus. It was a Wednesday night. What was the result of that?
well, the biggest surprise was I'd heard rumors that there was a new route being talked about. So it sort of just appeared.
Materialized out of nowhere.
Yes. Now, it didn't change this end significantly. I kept asking, how far away is it? And they said it's as far away as we can go from the neighborhood. But then it goes down, it goes across Route 4, it takes Heaton for several blocks, and then it switches to Vine. And it's going to end up right at what's currently the Cohen property, which is where the new development wants to go. And then they showed two options for the crossing of the river, and they were both north of there, one at Washington Boulevard and one further south. And all that's on the website if you haven't seen it. And they're going to study both of those and see.
Okay.
But the biggest surprise, like I said, was instead of going through the park or going through the more subdivisions and the bottom property, they didn't take those options off.
They're
So
just
now there's four.
exploring
Yeah,
another.
they've got a fourth one, which seemed to jump to the top of the list, and no verification of that other than, and that one, they commented that actually moves some traffic off of High Street, which has been a disappointment to me the
Right.
whole way. It's such a, 9% of the traffic's gonna come off for a $150 million road, 3 miles of road, whatever it ends up being. But that was the surprise. So again, I would encourage everybody in Fairfield Township to go and learn about that, ask your questions. The same thing with the mental health situation in that facility that's been proposed. And if, again, in hope that we could send out some kind of information and put them both on the postcard, send them out, give the dates and location. They have located we're going to use this campus of Butler Tech.
Okay.
And he had the location and everything that was on the flyer that he'd sent over. So if we could advertise both of those, that would be great. And again, like you said, we could have some of that information at the table.
September 7th, 5 to 7. It's for Rasmus.
Yeah, that sounds right. He said, he gave us two choices, or asked for two choices, and I said I didn't think we'd have a preference, but that probably fits the schedule with what we're saying. So.
Yeah, D. Russell Lee campus, site cyber lounge.
Oh, the Cyber Lounge?
That's what it says. For clarity of the sites, added the D.
Said it was
Yeah.
all 100 people. something
It's a
like
much
that.
smaller room than the event center.
Okay.
And it's in the middle of the building. It's kind of to
I'm
navigate
not
your way
sure.
to
I'm
it.
not sure why that, but
Might be the only thing that was available.
yeah, it might be.
School's back in session. Students
So
started.
I don't know
reporting today.
what do you guys think about mailing the postcard?
I'm always in favor of informing the public, and a postcard is a pretty inexpensive way of doing it. I'm impartial to who would get it. whether you want it focused on people closest to the area.
I thought that'd be a minimum. You know, that was my thinking. How many, did we send it to the whole township the last time?
We have each time, yes.
So again,
Let's do that again.
I think
I
it's,
prefer to send it to everyone.
I think it's too important, local, regional events that they ought to have the opportunity to know about.
So is there anything else that should be on that postcard? So we're going to talk about the mental health facility, the
The town
Triage,
hall, the
whatever.
town hall meeting about it.
the town
right?
hall on the 28th or whatever date that
Both
is.
of them.
That's a Monday, right? 28th?
Yes.
And then should we also advertise, get bang for our buck, the 9th here, put that
Sure.
on there?
Sure.
And any other information that the administrator feels is important to get, might as well, since we're sending a mailing.
You know, I wouldn't want to overload it, but.
Yeah,
it's
some
just
top
right.
level
And-
events.
3
and
events,
put-
that's fine.
Yeah, and then, you know, put the township webpage, put the township Facebook page, things like that where they can go to get more information. If they can't make the meeting, they can look at something else.
Great. So timing for that, if we're looking at the end of this month, probably we should have something to get to the printer by middle of next week, right? So we can mail it out.
We'll have it sooner. We'll be ready. We'll get it
Okay.
out. That's it. That's easy. It's so
Okay.
easy. The people, the different groups that we work with, seamless, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, so if it could be dropped, you know, late next week so that people get it and have a week to think it over.
Plan their calendar. Okay. That's great. Anything else for the TID?
We meet next week. We're still dealing with other smaller items.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Harkemeyer, you have a slew of reports?
Sure. Very light reports, though. EMA, we did have the farewell party for Mark Haberkos, who is moving on. I've noticed that Jim Bolin is, and thank you to staff that attended that. I think a number of us were there. He's done a very good job for Butler County, and his work is very much appreciated. I've noticed that Jim Bolin has been stepping up and doing a number of events and some community outreach, so that's a good sign for EMA going forward. In regards to OKI, we've not met this summer. We generally don't in the summer months, but we do have some upcoming meetings. They are recording a series of videos on the SRPP, the Strategic Regional Planning Process, that will be put out for people to learn more about it. So look forward to those coming out. And Clout, nothing to report there.
Great. Any questions for Trustee Harkemeyer? Thank you very much for those updates. We'll move into fiscal officers' recommendations and reports. Ms. Schultz?
2 things that we received in the last month, the Veterans Memorial reimbursement of $48,400. I think that was the last payment, yes. So we've been reimbursed the entire grant for that. And then the opioid settlement of $7,339.33 we received last week. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Schultz? Okay. Move on to item B. Recommend the motion to suspend the readings of the minutes of the following meetings: the tax budget hearing July 11th, 2023, and the regular trustee meeting on July 11th, 2023. Is there a motion to suspend?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, you call the roll?
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee McAbey.
Yes?
Trustee Birding.
Yes, that motion passes. I move to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding.
Yes,
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee McAbey.
Yes?
and that motion passes.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Any questions or comments on that? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey.
Yes?
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes, and that motion passes. Administrator's report, Ms. Mondahar?
Don't get tired of me here. Only a few more things. We did get notice from Butler County engineers that there will be a project coming, and that consists of a single lane roundabout at Milliken Road at Morris. So no surprise, but they have asked for us to reach out and set a meeting, so more to come on that.
Can you let us know when that is?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, we haven't set it up, I sure will.
Have they asked us for any right of way?
Not yet. They indicated they will be.
I think that letter was a notice to the property owners that they'll be looking to get the right of way.
That's the way I took it.
Yes, it wasn't just us, it was probably the other properties that were going to be affected by the
And we
roundabout.
haven't seen any preliminary plans or anything.
Not yet, not yet.
Are they planning to build that next year? I thought
I thought they told us 2025.
Anything else, Ms. Butler?
Other than September 9th, we just had a staff meeting, and as always, the team fabulous, both chiefs, Chuck, Jeff, some of the firefighters that are involved, Diane and Kay, everyone has their role in that day. It's a full day. It should be a fun day. And we're just working on bringing all the logistics together on that. So you'll see more advertising on that. And I will have plenty of things for you to hand out related to all the information that the board's talked about. So we'll make sure we have professional flyers, et cetera. Other than that, Diane and I and Noelle met with Margaret Hauser did take a new job. So we have a new broker and same company. But we have one more year with Humana, so I did indicate to her that our number one concern is knowing what that's going to look like, what kind of increase, who are the big players, and so we will also hear with employees, because we have two unions, form some kind of advisory committee as well, and work through that with the broker, but we want to start that sooner rather than later. So she's very nice, nice to meet her, and I think we're in good hands still. And the last thing there, I think you're all aware of the hike on property values right now. I don't believe they have passed what they're saying for Fairfield Township, which I believe is 36%. So I'm going to calculate what that would cost for $100,000 worth of home value. But I want to see if that's where it really ends up. I think whatever Nancy Nix suggested was rejected, I believe, for a couple of places, including the township. So,
And I believe when Auditor Nix was here, she explained that since we are in the Fairfield City School District, residents here will not see that proportionate increase because Fairfield schools are not at.
we haven't hit that threshold, correct? Lakota and Fairfield are the
Lakota
two
and
schools
Fairfield.
that have not, yep, correct. So that's all I have, thank you.
And our levies only generate a certain amount of money anyway, so.
Yeah.
So we should, get a little bit of relief from that. So. Going back to the health insurance, everybody's enrolled,
Everyone meeting,
everybody that's, we're up and running.
oh, yeah,
News-
yes,
first month
absolutely, yep,
with the new
yes,
contract.
yes,
How many
yes.
families did we have sign up? Do you remember? Can you get that information? I mean, you don't have to do it right now, but number of families or number of individuals, however they count that?
Yeah, we either have individual, two family, two adult.
You want number by, like number family, number spouse plus one.
Oh, that'd be great.
Number.
That'd be great. We need to budget for, we've been hiring people, right?
Yeah, so I don't know how
So
that's
that
affected
cost is
that.
Continuing to,
Yeah.
total cost is continuing to rise. And I agree with you, I don't want to, we've got July 31st, so we're less than a year to find a new carrier. So we would want to start early next year
Mhm.
and shop it hard.
All right, thank you, Ms. Von Haar. Next item is motions. I move to accept the resignation of Police Officer Cameron Wood.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Schultz, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Birdie,
Yes?
trustee Harkemaier,
Yes.
trustee McAbey,
Yes?
And that motion passes. Can we have the first resolution, please?
It's Resolution 23-108, approving open purchase order balances.
Motion to adopt?
Second? Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, you call the roll, please.
trustee McAbey,
Yes?
trustee Birdie,
Yes,
trustee Harkemaier,
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. Can we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution number 23-109, authorizing purchase of 15 sets of turnout gear for the fire department from Phoenix Safety Outfitters at a total cost of $61,425.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Any questions or comments?
Replacements or new people? I know we get some equipment, turnout gear every.
So it's a combination of sizes that we need for some of the new people that we've hired and replacement of aged out gear. So gear is only good for 10 years. So as part of our normal replacement, we replace so many a year so we don't end up having to buy 50 sets at once.
I know it seems like 2 years ago we bought a.
Yeah, we used the ARPA money to purchase a second set of gear for everybody, which met our long-term goal in like overnight. So that was helpful.
Any other questions? Ms. Schultz?
trustee Harkemaier,
Yes.
trustee McAbey,
Yes?
trustee Birdie,
Yes, and that resolution is adopted. Have we haven't answered back yet?
No, I haven't, have you heard any, I don't know if you sent, okay, I sent him a text, yeah, I have not heard anything back, so do not have that, oh, wait, yes on the payments, all the buildings are included. So, that means,
What Ken told me today, that's why I wasn't sure, but he said buildings already built will generate more than enough revenue to make the bond payments.
yeah, I never, okay, I
Yeah,
didn't
well,
have the
That's
discussion
what
with
he told
him.
me today, so
Okay.
I wasn't
Okay.
sure what the answer to your question, but
That doesn't encourage me to vote for it because we're taking the money that Duke, that we are accepting off the Duke property, right?
Correct,
Because that would be the building number one. That's the
Correct.
one we're talking about.
that's what he said, yeah, and I did, yeah, I misunderstood that too, but yes, he did confirm that it would be the building already built.
The building already built. Ask him specifically, please, if it's the Duke building.
Because there's several buildings already built, right? Not just the one, three total.
Right. Well, the second one, to me, is part of the Nire project. The first one was Duke.
Duke.
the first Fairfield Logistics building is now complete. The second Nyer building is going to be completed in 2023, according to the information I have. So then,
We're still having a difficulty understanding which building is which. The first building, there are 3 buildings down there, Larry, right? 3?
Right, yeah.
Two are operational.
Yeah, there's one building that was built by Duke Realty, the other 2 were built by Meyer. Fairfield Logistics is the 2 newest.
yeah, and that's 035 parcel and 036 parcel. The 035 parcel is the first Nyer building, and that's complete. 036 is the second Nyer building, and that's going to be completed this year.
So it's not the Duke Realty building in this.
I'm verifying though with him, he's writing back right now. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
It says the only parcel in this tip that is active is 0030, which is the Duke Realty land parcel.
Well, that's the one when I said, no, it's not included, that was what I was talking about. So, yeah, the Duke building is not included. This is all Nyer buildings.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, yes, correct. But that's what I was assuming that first building when I was answering that question before. So I didn't realize that distinction was part of this.
Well,
I assumed it wasn't, so.
And what Larry just said is that one is active because it's generating money. And that money is not going to go support this debt.
Correct, that's what Ken just verified. And that's what I understood too.
And the information I gave you was confirmed by the auditor.
That parcel is the one that's at
Right.
that building.
Yeah, we've activated one of the 9 buildings.
Having found that out and understanding that it's basically just adding the Port Authority, is that oversight? I'm
Prepared to vote.
vote.
Okay. I appreciate your due diligence on this, Trustee McAbey. Okay, may we have that resolution, please?
Sure. Resolution 23-110, authorizing the administrator to execute all documents related to the cooperative tax increment financing agreement for the Fairfield Logistics Project between Fairfield Township, Butler County, Ohio, and the Butler County Port Authority.
I move to adopt 23-110.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, you call the roll, please.
Trustee Birding?
Yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes,
and that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 23-111, declaring nuisance and ordering abatement on the properties listed below and further authorizing the zoning administrator to initiate complaint. Properties include 7033 Haverford Drive for boat and trailer parking, 1925 Parkamo Avenue for junk and debris, and 1905 Parkamo Avenue for junk and zoning permit required.
I move to adopt 23-111.
second,
Any questions or comments? Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding?
Yes,
Trustee McAbey?
yes,
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
that resolution is adopted. Announcements. Offices are closed for Labor Day holiday, Monday, September 4th, 2023. The third annual John Carboy Classic Golf Outing is Thursday, September 7th, 2023. I'm not sure what time that begins. I think it's a morning outing.
so,
The car show and concert in the park is set Saturday, September 9th, 2023, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. And of course, we said there was a Touch a Truck event on August the 19th. And I believe that's at Bridgewater Falls, correct? Okay. Board member comments? Trustee Harkemaier?
Nothing this evening.
Trustee McAbey?
just to be clear, the Touch a Truck, what the hours on that?
I want to say 11 to 1.
And you arranged for no rain this year, right?
I thought it was 10 to 3, Chief. Oh,
10 to 1?
somewhere in the middle of Chief and I, yes, 10 to 1. Thought it started at 10.
10 to 1. Okay. And I have no comments tonight. According to ORC 121.22G1, we need to move into executive session to consider the employment or compensation of a public employee or official. I move that we recess into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? There may or may not be business to follow executive session. Ms. Schultz, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding?
Yes?
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
All right, that motion passes, and we convene executive session at 8:09 PM.
Sorry, I'm trying Ken's stuff.